Hey, what's up, guys? It's Goose from the Wise Wealth Discord coming back at you. It is a Monday morning this morning. I have not set up much of anything. I was on vacation, as I mentioned to you guys last week. So I'm just getting back into the charts. I did see that there is a little bit of a sell off this morning just from futures. Not sure what that's all about, but we'll dive into the chats here just to see what's going on, see if anything's looking bullish or bearish. I had a pretty slow week last week. I had just rode calls from the break of the downtrend to um, the FOMC from the FOMC meeting, and then the break above. It gapped up and it kept going. That was decent, like 75%. So we just watched these, trends and where it's getting denied and what needs to break. It was holding this little downtrend for a while, and once it broke above during the FOMC meeting, this big candle right there, that's what kind of gave me confluence. Came back, retested it, and it was about a couple hours before it closed, so I got a little bit of that. And then once it gapped up in the morning, I think this was aftermarket. Need to take aftermarket out really quick. Put regular. So yeah, big gap up. That's kind of what it was feeling as of the day after, and then Friday as well, because FOMC was on Wednesday last week. So Thursday and Friday, it was kind of coming back down and feeling. I did play the cues, by the way. I know I'm showing SPY, but it was very similar action, just a bigger gap up. But that was the break I was waiting for on SPY, just to see if it could break that ultimate downtrend that was going, and then we got a pretty decent move. Right now, I mean, it's a pretty solid sell off in the morning, about a 0.25%, but it is Monday. Typically, if there is any sort of sell off, Monday ends flat or green. So I would not be surprised to see this get bought up pretty quick. But as you can see, it's finally filling that gap right there that we were looking for. So it's filling it. We'll see what happens. Now there will be a gap right in between up and down because it's going to most likely open below. We still do have an hour and a half. You don't really know what's going to happen in futures. Could get more bloody. It could not, So what's scary about this is, I wouldn't say scary, but what could be concerning is that it broke above this resistance. So I know we have this downtrend resistance, but really the next biggest level was this right here, where price was having trouble with before that, downtrend started occurring. Now that it's up here, it feels like it's kind of like a false breakout, like it came up and then broke back down. So we still could be back in range. The only reason I say scary is like it's just annoying when it gets back in range. You'd rather see it trending, If this holds, it's more like a downward channel that's more of like a bullish flag, then it could pop back up, something like that. But if it falls back in this range, we have a very strong possibility of it coming back and doing that gap fill down here. But so far, support's been held here. When we're in that downtrend channel, I know I'm drawing quite a bit of lines. But when we were in this, it came down and that was the low once, twice. And then before that, we had a channel like that. It came down and tested it. This gap up held this since. So that's the biggest level on the downside. The upside, you can see that it did break above at the 446 level, started ramping up, but it's kind of looking like a false breakout. If Monday opens here and it's a gapping, it gaps down and it keeps going down, that would be, kind of significant to the fact that our levels would be more towards like the 433 level to see. But if broken above, obviously you got 446, and then now it needs to go through 449. So like the 450 area is obviously going to be a tough psychological level, pretty even number. So that's what I'm looking for. Anything above 449 or 450 is the next bullish case. Holding this gap down and holding this would be big too, because then hopefully you can get some momentum to go through that and hold above. But if not, we could just be range bound for a little while. We'll see if I go. This is the 15 minutes. It's a little bit more sloppy. But if you look at the daily, you can see that it's just kind of going sideways. Is like this yellow right here is pre-market. I could add actually the session back. Sometimes, oh, I don't know where it goes. It used to say right here. Okay. Uh, do I have it all the way? I don't know what's going on, but it's yellow is pre-market, so we'll see if it comes and fills this gap. That'll be at 443. Loses that, we have potential for 439, 433, somewhere around there. If it continues to get bought up, beating 446 would be big, and then getting above 449, 450 would show a lot more bullish momentum. But we have plenty of days. This is February 23rd, 27th, 30th, where this range started. So the break of this is going to be big. We're just waiting to see because we did get that break after FOMC, but now it's looking like a false breakout. So these would be levels to watch. IWM, they're really just wedging up here. I haven't drawn these lines in a while. Like I said, I haven't looked at any of the charts, so I'll be still continuing to move them around a little bit. But you can see this nice little, I keep deleting it, nice little upper wedge area. I do like these, right? It's not quite a rising wedge, but just like coiling up action. It's getting very tight, and it's like it's going to explode either way. If it goes up above 208, 209, I mean, that's going to be a huge push probably towards the 220, 230 area. And then if it does break below, it gets below the, not the 200, but 200 price range, then you could start to see a little bit more downside there. I always forget how to draw maybe like an impulse wave. Not quite Elliot's wave, but I'm always wanting to do more like a W shape to show you guys kind of what I'm looking for to happen. Maybe this will work. The path. So if it breaks down, what you would want to see is a push down here, maybe like a slight higher low, and then it would continue down. Yeah, something like that would be perfect actually. What I just did there. So let me click that again. And a break above would be something like a break, a push, back down to retest, and then a higher high up there. Okay, that looks kind of weird. I don't know what that was. Oh, I needed to do path, not an ABC. That's the problem. So a break above here would cause something like a push up here, a retest, create a higher low on that break. Sorry, I kind of fucked up. And then go higher like that. Okay, it just keeps going. So something like that. I know I'm not too great at that, but I kind of want to give you a visual of what I'm looking for after a break like this happens. So usually you get the big push because it's the break, and then price starts to bring back down to see if that can be the new supply and test that. And it's like once this supply zone turns into a demand zone, they're trying to turn it into now. The stock is 208, 209. That's that break, so everyone gets excited. But usually price comes to test that and goes. Same thing with something breaking lower. It's not guaranteed to come test, the higher band, but that was the support for a while. So it's going to come and see if it can find sellers there. Sometimes you do find buyers for it to make it like a false breakout, as in the cues and how that looks. So we're seeing the break of it happen, and it was a false breakout, so it's coming back down. It did come down to test it, but you want to see it slingshot back up, similar to what we're looking for in IWM. So there's two different scenarios, obviously, how it could play out. But that's why you want to wait for these breaks of the major support, or major supports, major resistances. And when that happens, you wait to see if it can hold it. And that's now that it was a resistance new support, it can go higher. Same thing as here is like it could retest all the way back up here. But it's not guaranteed. It's just got to create a higher low. That's a new trend. So you make a lower low by the break here because it's breaking all this, and then a higher low would be right here, and then now you're going to go make a lower low. Inverse would be breaking above, making a higher high, and then you make a higher low, and now you're going to make a new higher high. That's a trend. So we call it uptrend and a downtrend. This would be consolidation. So just a little bit of an insight, because that's why I do these, to give you guys, an idea of how I'm looking at these things, how I go about charting and stuff like that. That's SPY, QQQ, IWM. Now we'll get into a little bit more individual stocks. Apple I usually start with, still big levels to be watching for. As you can see, it's similar to that path that I was just showing you. This was the support, What did it do after it broke it? It came back, retested it, found sellers, and now we're right here. We're looking to see if we continue to go down or if this gets bought up at this support and then goes up and goes like a W shape and then maybe triple tops or double tops or whatever it is. That's why you don't really play, you know, that's why you don't play like the levels of support and resistance. Unless, I mean, you can. These are dailies, so it's like you can still get some intraday action if you go to the 15-minute and see that at these supports there is a decent amount of climb in these. But that's where the chop happens. Like all this stuff is nasty. That's not good for options. When you're looking for option trades, you're looking for these big green levels to be broken because that's really where the big movement is. So like when this is happening over the long term, this break right here would have been a good option play on the short side because it broke in the downside, it retested it, and it came back down. And you can see the retest happen even in the smaller time frames. As you see that this green line right here is big support. It's been tested multiple times. Now it comes back, retest, and it found sellers, gapped completely down. Even on the gap down, you still could have got another short and another gap down. It's like that right there is the option play. It's like you don't want to usually be playing all this. You got to be patient for the longer term, bigger time frames that you're seeing break down. So now it's creating another one where it's a bigger time frame and you're waiting for these levels. So 165.80 would be mine and Apple. Below 180 above would be, Apple going above or going back up and holding trend and doing something, a little bit more of a better channel. But anything below 165, I think could start turning into a bloodbath, definitely, because they tested this twice, and this could be a double top easily. Double top isn't confirmed until this, right here that's connecting it gets broken below. If that happens, we could see continued downside. But also got to watch the upside because everything's been so bullish. Once it breaks these tops up here, this is Microsoft. Microsoft's just consolidating, being in range. Nothing crazy here. You could see, the range that we had once it broke out, came up, retested it, went for a higher high. That's the exact same path that I've been showing you guys, and that's why I'm doing these videos for you guys to get, a better idea of what you're looking at on supply and resistance and support, supply and resistance, support and resistance, supply and demand, those type of things. So like right here, it was a supply zone. It would sell off every time it got up there. It gapped up, tried to make it, no, couldn't hold it, came back down to the demand zone. Got up, supply at 415, comes back down, demand at 400. Supply at 415, finally breaks above. But what did it do differently than this one? It held it. It held this area of supply as new demand, and now it's going up and creating higher highs. And that's when you get the trend. So it's like that's how you play options. You wait for that break. You don't play any of this here. You can see those hours and days that it's just sideways. That's going to destroy your premium. But this move right here, where it's constantly going up, it's like that's a beautiful play on options. Something like that, 4%, and just March 15th up to, like 10 days, not even full week in trading pretty much. So I'm just kind of giving you a backstory, reaffirming what I'm looking at, what I'm showing you guys every week. That we're just constantly looking at setups like that, and it's like that's all. That's all this watch list is just setups, showing you guys what could happen, what price points you want to see break, if you're looking for an option play up or down. So NVIDIA, obviously 946, but you have your all-time high in denial around 973. This ultimate trend line in the further distance is going to be something to watch out for. I know it's just like one, couple things watch or lining up, but the upper band of like a longer term trend line does matter. And with it getting close to running into it, it's like you just got to be careful with it. It's like it could run into it again when it's so overbought like it is now. Usually you start to see a pretty decent pullback in these type of areas, but obviously it's NVIDIA, so you don't want to short it. You see these things are just roasting shorts. I mean, cool, you got 2 months out of, a long 2-year bull run, a massive bull run since like 100. So be careful trying to shorten a video. I'm just saying that typically in these oversold moments in the RSI, you start to see it, especially amongst this trend line. But when you go to the shorter term time frames, there's nothing bearish about this. This is a straight bull flag that's occurring. Most likely it's going to break above 950 and then go to like 1,000 or something like that. Maybe 1,000 would be top out. That's just kind of blow off top point. No one really knows. It's the video, but probably wouldn't short it until 841. That's maybe a good point where you could short it. I still don't suggest it because it's the video, but that's possibly a point because it's kind of similar to this. It's like if it starts to break down, you could have shorted it, but it never did. It held it. And then it started doing something similar to what IWM is doing right now. Kind of wedging pattern, a rising wedge. Just let me go back to IWM to show you it's the same kind of setup that's happening with that. It's just waving right up into the top. You can see the same thing on the video. Sorry, it's going longer on this video. I just haven't looked at the charts in a while. I like to remind you guys. But, no, I was looking at the other one. Same thing, wave right up in, then can break above. So it's like when it does break, that's the trend, that's the option play. Interesting stuff we got here. Tesla had a beautiful short on the rising wedge. I didn't play it. I've still been waiting for like a little bit bullish momentum. Just kind of struggling, man. It really is struggling. We have the lower band of the trend line coming here into play. It would be around 160. I really hope that they would hold. You could start to get some waterfall action if it does break below 145, 130. Overall, though, I mean, I know a lot of people started to turn pretty bearish on Tesla, but you look at like their monthly chart, it's like you zoom out and you realize that it kind of looks like just a full ass bull flag, like some big ass shit happening right here. Because you could change your line into something like that. But obviously, you could build a case for anything. But overall, if you see how much liquidity was entered into it, it really hasn't been a terrible sell-off. Like in the short term, it seems like it, because it hasn't created new all-time highs through all this bull market crap. But you never freaking know, man. It breaks above that trend. You could have 1-2 months that could bring you right back into all-time highs. And I think if Tesla does start to turn bullish like that, it would be a quick, rapid movement because they get gamma squeezed really hard. There's a lot of shorts there, so that's the ultimate, time frame where I still think things looks relatively bullish. But that's monthly time frames. It'll take a lot of time to play out. If you look at the 4 hour, you can see things got bearish, but we would need more bullish momentum down here in order to start pushing up maybe past 200, deal with the 247 because it goes in levels. But the ultimate break obviously would be around like 250, 260. You get above that, it looks great. Over 300, I mean, you're going all-time highs. You're going to be at 400 in no time if you get that far. But breaking down, anything below 160, you could start to see a waterfall effect and maybe test these levels. That's obviously going to be a huge, big support level around 100. Breaks below that, then you can start to get some ugly movement for sure. Meta, looking good. Just kind of consolidating, honestly. When I say looking good, it's just holding up at all-time highs. Like usually, if you're going to start to see a correction or a downturn, you're going to start to see these get smoked. And yeah, they have like a day or two where they've gotten smoked, but it's nothing concerning that isn't being brought up at every dip possible. So, till these big levels like 454, I wouldn't even short it. Looks kind of ugly, honestly. AMD, it definitely has had its sell off from the all-time highs. That's something that's kind of concerning, like I said, but relatively just kind of a decent pullback. That was a graphic from a long time ago. I'm just going to use one of these actually, so you can see the trend that's it's been on. I mean, it was on it, and then came up, retested it, and lost it. So that's something concerning right now for AMD. I do think it looks relatively weak. It's down 3% pre-market. That's never good. But these levels of consolidation that I had with these supports, it's like support at 162, support at 150, big support around 130. So it's like if it comes down at 130 is probably the lowest it's going to go. Right now, personally, I would say like a 150. 150 area right here would be like a perfect level for a support if it loses that 130. But AMD is still ultimately pretty freaking bullish. They have a strong support everywhere, but 160, 150, like these are strong supports that they're going to have to go through. The bears would have to continue to sell off. We did have divergence, on these levels, because you see right here, it's showing momentum is definitely waning, but as we've been saying, it's like you got to keep playing the levels how they play out. I'm looking for the upside and the downside. I don't mind turning bearish, but I'm not going to sit here and give you a fear mongering thing where I think everything's going to crash because we're due for a correction. Like, it's simple that you see that we're just kind of trending or either consolidating. Nothing is broken below, tremendously where it's concerning that you think the whole market's going to crash. Netflix in a rising wedge, Amazon kind of in the same similar situation, rising wedge. Below 172 could start to break down and fill this gap right here. 160 breaking above, you want to see above 185, and it keeps going. Netflix broken above or broken below 115, continue down. We have a gap below. That's a pretty big gap. Broken above like the 640 area, you can start to see 660, 670 all-time highs, and then we'll see what happens over there when all-time high hits. That's mostly it. I just wanted to go over some big tech. I know I got into it pretty heavy. I don't really have any sleeper nays or anything like that. Baba, I still hold them long term. They're just in a long, range right now. Especially on the daily right now, it's a very tight range. They're down about 0.25% pre-market. We'll see. Anything above 78's got to go up. Anything below 70 definitely sell down to 66. Below that, who knows, man? It just goes to $10. I lose all my money. But that's what I'm looking at this week, guys. I didn't actually look at. Let me give you guys some news and some economic data. See what we're looking at. Calendar. Are we just on the U.S.? I think I actually finally filtered it. But Bostic speaks this morning, it looks like, new home sales. We really just want to look at the red. We got consumer confidence. FOMC member Waller speaks. GDP quarter over quarter. Unemployment claims Wednesday. Or no, that's Thursday. Pending home sales. Chicago PMI. Revised UOM. Something consumer sentiment. University of Michigan. Is that what that is? Is it Michigan? I have no idea. Core PC price index month over month. Chair Powell speaks Friday. Interesting. That's kind of weird. I didn't see that coming, but a Friday to end the week, that'll be interesting. But nothing too crazy, honestly. It's not like we have GDP, CPI, PPI. We do have unemployment numbers. I know that's kind of big, unemployment claims. So I would say that's one of the bigger ones, and obviously Chair Powell speaking. That'll be a catalyst. But other than that, we just got to keep watching our levels and keep doing our thing, and we should be good this week. I think there's some solid levels to play on the short and the downside. So it's just exciting to see if it comes and plays. We'll have to get right back at you next week with another watch list. All right, guys. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope this week is awesome and prosperity, and we just kill it because wise wealth is the best. All right, guys. Later.